quiver. Verb, tremble or shake with slight rapid motion. Noun, a slight trembling movement or sound, especially caused by fear. Noun, obsolete, a group of cobras. That is how the episode Quiver starts, with a black screen with that definition, and from then on, it only goes up from there.
It's such a perfect encapsulation of the show. I mean, it's so well thought out of. So, the IMDb synopsis is Johnny's dojo class attracts a group of misfits while his son Robbie, who harbors ulterior motives, lands a new job. Samantha makes a new friend in science class, and Daniel inspires interest in karate from an unlikely person. Oh my God.
These synopses. They work hard to hide the ball, I'll give them that.
There is no ball in this synopsis.
There is no ball. It's just that...
Also, you know what? I find that... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Samantha does have a plot line in this episode, but I wouldn't describe it as she makes a new friend in science class.
No, that is ridiculous sounding.
Yeah.
Samantha makes a new friend. We'll get to her plot line, but...
Are we doing this in order of importance?
Yeah, let's do it in order of importance.
Okay, so I say we're starting with Johnny's story, right? And we finally get a proper Johnny flashback. We've had tons and tons of... We had Miyagi flashbacks. We've had Daniel flashbacks.
Now we get a Johnny flashback that's not just a flashback to him losing the tournament in 1984.
Yeah.
This is an even flashier, even further flashback to Johnny as like
a little 12-year-old
biking around Encino Hills. Nice neighborhood. And as he's like, darting around, he comes upon the Cobra Kai karate dojo. The original, run by, I presume, John Kreese.
Yeah, we see the back of John Kreese, the menacing sensei that casts a shadow over his life. No spoilers.
But in that first initial moment, you see little Johnny's face light up watching.
Yeah, he looks like he's in love.
Yeah. And, I mean, now you made it sound creepy, but, he's clearly got a sparklet inside him.
Yeah.
That sounded kind of creepy, too. Anyway.
I gotta say, that's not the impression that I had when I walked into a karate class for the first time. I just remember dread. And actually, my reaction was more like Dimitri's, where... I think he has a line that says, God, it's just like an extra gym class. It's exactly how I felt. Once I realized that, it's probably going to be like years before I become a black belt and I get to do the cool things. It's just probably going to be years of working out.
Nina, I hate to say this, but you are, as Johnny would put it, a pussy.
Oh my God. You know what? I'm probably... Yes.
So when we flash back to the present, we see that Johnny has a whole bunch of students.
He has 70 students.
He has 70 students because in the last episode... Miguel kicking ass was actually a viral moment. Like, people recorded it with their phones, it went on the internet, everybody saw it, and now, like, all these kids want to take karate lessons, too. But,
Yeah, karate is suddenly trendy again.
It's finally trendy again. But see, like, Johnny looks at his students, he calls them a bunch of nerds and losers and pussies like Nina.
He's straight up roasting all of the students.
Nice shirt.
Thanks.
I'm joking, it sucks. Word of advice, if you got shit for teeth, don't smile. God, makes me feel like a virgin just looking at you.
I mean, let's face it, I would get a cool nickname. I don't know what it would be. Given that, Johnny is, what would the kids say, not politically correct.
Yeah, not so politically correct.
I'm guessing we'd both get some interesting ones.
Yeah, probably some racial ones. That's okay, it's cool. He's just trying to make us stronger, kids. But, he does say that, like, he thinks they're nerds and losers, but he's seen some miracles. So, he and Miguel share a nice, like, look there. Eli and Dimitri...
I think he's also talking about Aisha.
I think he's talking about Aisha, too. Like,
how long has it been? She's only been a student for, like, a week.
I don't know, man, because she has a gi and everything. And she seems like...
I mean,
she knows what she's doing now. I'm not really sure about the passage of time on the show.
Aisha's dad is rich, so who knows? Like, maybe they're just like, hey, you want a gi? You'll get a gi. You can order this. You can Amazon Prime a gi.
Nina. Aisha would earn her gi. She's not a pussy.
Man.
Like Nina. So the point
I don't like this steady transportation into Darth Lata.
Like, man,
Lata would start a dojo that's even edgier than Cobra Kai.
Oh my god, it would be so edgy. It would be so metal. You have no idea. Oh, we'd call ourselves the Edgelords. It would be awesome. Anyways,
I look forward to that.
Look forward to my spin-off.
I'll be the Daniel, and I'll try to run you out of town.
Ugh, you monster! Why would you do that?
So yeah, among the students are what's his name?
Eli and Dimitri.
Eli and Dimitri.
And I want to say this is really special. This episode. This is the last time we can refer to Eli as Eli.
Yes, or the initial nickname that Johnny gives him, which is Lip. Johnny says you should flip the script, and so then that's what he does.
And we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I think it's worth talking about separately. But another Cobra Kai lesson, he says, in the real world, you can expect people to act like they're supposed to. And I was like, he's the only one telling the truth about the nature of bullying.
Right.
And it runs throughout the show, right? You see Sam getting cyber bullied all over the place. And basically half the people that are in this class are because they're being bullied at school.
And again, this is something that I think the show, what makes it so good is that it's not saying that, like, everything that Cobra Kai preaches is awesome, but you do get the sense that, like, what Johnny's saying is, like, awful, but it's more honest than, like, say, like, you know, in an earlier episode, they had, like, somebody come into the school and talk about how bullying hurts people, and, like, you should tell a parent as soon as possible, and it's just, like, if you've ever been alive, you know that's not how that works. Like, telling your parents will probably make things worse for you. And I think that there's something, like, very honest about saying, like, even if people know they're not supposed to make fun of your deformity, they're going to.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Miguel later goes to Johnny and tries to get him to be a little softer and a little bit more respectful to the students. And then he says, you can't really empathize because you were never really...
You don't know what it's like to be us.
Yeah.
And then we have the second of the Johnny flashbacks, which is he's at this the dinner table with his mom and his stepfather, and his mom's clearly much younger than his stepfather, and you almost get the sense here, like, oh, his mom just totally married this douchebag for money, probably so that he could, like, grow up in this nice house, but, like, yeah, his stepfather is an asshole. Like, he, like, very timidly asks if he can take karate lessons, and, you know, stepfather proceeds to tell him that he's a friendless loser who, you know, will probably never amount to anything. And anyways, you also get the sense that, like, little Johnny didn't have any friends and was also bullied at school, so he's not as unfamiliar with the misfit concept as you might think. And, like, I think what Miguel is, like, so the voice of sanity. He cuts this perfect in-between path where he's not all, like, you know, if Daniel was all about, like, balance and pretending that you're not, like, then pretending there aren't problems, and Johnny's all about, like, just get in there and, like, kick everyone's ass. Miguel's just very sane and is, like, he doesn't have a problem with, like, how tough Johnny is, but, like, you know, there's this sense these are your students.
I think this is the first inkling also that we get of Johnny showing growth based on either Miguel's influence or, like, whatever he's experiencing at the moment. And he's not open about changing, right? He's like, Cobra Kai is still about strength and you guys are still all losers, but he's willing to, like, move a little in the more sane direction. Whereas what irritates me about Daniel is that he talks a good game and he tries to come off like he's very calm and reasonable. And then you look at his actions and he's unhinged.
Yeah, like, especially like you saw in the last episode with his, like, weird plan to, like, raise the Cobra Kai dojo's rent. Like,
I mean, that was it's hardly remarked upon really in this episode. Like, I think Amanda, his wife, is just like, oh, that was a weird week when you try to, like, have this whole real estate plot that you didn't clue me into, and you were trying to celebrate with vintage wine.
Right, like, as, like, you're basically, like, the evil guy with a monocle from, like, a cheesy melodrama. But, so he's off of that, and apparently his time spent visiting Miyagi's grave has also changed him so that he's, like, back into karate, trying to not be, like, a
not
crazy
be the
person
worst,
anymore.
basically.
Yeah, and I know it sounds, and because it's true, that we're, like, very much Team Cobra Kai, but I do think that what's nice about Johnny is that, or Johnny's character, is that, like, yeah, like, he does have a stance that, like, maybe some part of it is honest, but the other part of it is horrible and ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he can be talked away from it, by Miguel mostly, who's just kind of like, come on, man, they're your students. You can't just, like, unload vitriol on them.
Yeah.
And, like, so when he talks to them again, he says that, hey, I was a loser too. I was like you. You gotta find strength, though. You gotta, like, the world is gonna be, like, set against you. You gotta fight back. You gotta flip the script.
Right.
And, you know, conspicuously absent is Eli, a.k.a. Lip, a.k.a. Hawk, because when he walks in with a badass mohawk, it's the only thing anyone can see.
Yeah, and Johnny is super impressed with that, and I think also notably Dimitri has quit because Dimitri decides, like, after getting his butt kicked by Johnny, he's gonna just use Miguel as muscle. That's fine.
And by the way, the cruel reign of Kyler is now over. He's, like, pretty scared.
Oh my god, yeah. Kyler has, like, a very brief cameo in this episode. He's still sporting some bruises and is staying out of Miguel's way, as he should.
And unfortunately for the only Kyler fans in the world, who might be you and me, and, you know, whatever Asian American Association is in support of representation on television, you don't really see too much of Kyler after this.
Yeah, I mean, he's really left a hole in the heart of this town.
Right.
Gone but not forgotten.
Right.
And, you know, Sam, and we don't see all the private grief that she's going through over this. I mean, well, I think it's safe to say she's
kind of over the Kyler thing.
Should we talk about...
Let's talk about Sam.
Okay,
yeah.
God. Okay, we have much more to say about Daniel, but and others, but Sam. So Sam, I think, is again now a social outcast. Can I just say it's really stunning that Kyler's fall from I guess Sam's unpopularity was related to Kyler poisoning the well,
yeah.
right? But now Kyler is kind of unpopular, so shouldn't this kind of resuscitate Sam's reputation?
Well, what trumps all of that is that people in school have implied that she performs oral sex, and that's just enough in high school. Like, oh my god, she may or may not have sucked dick.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll get you a
the
social media campaign,
of this.
Right? So she gets.
This is a rough high school, man.
A lot of people are like making memes of her, like shoving hot dogs in her mouth. They give her bananas. I mean, how trite.
It is, and we've touched on the kind of toxic masculinity and all that in this show, but I think I will say, again, proving my case that Dimitri is a budding incel. He makes, like, a bunch of hooker jokes, and he makes a kind of crass joke at Sam's expense about the blowjob that she theoretically gave Kyler. Mm-hmm. And it's not great. Like, Miguel is, like, tries to get him to shut up. But
right. And
yeah, Dimitri's not one of those, like, super sympathetic losers. He's just kind of whiny and obnoxious in this episode. I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed seeing him get punched. Or, like, flipped to the ground by Johnny.
You know, Dimitri's interesting, because I get what you're saying. He's totally a budding incel and all that. But, like, I do kind of like how he seems like a crotchety old man trapped in a child's body.
Yeah, he's 100.
I like his rough edges that, like, cannot be smoothed by any sensei
he's
anywhere.
So prickly and a horrible student. He's, like, the last candidate to learn anything from anybody.
Right, and we'll see more of this in season 2. Yeah. I think it pays dividends, actually, going down the line. But right now, he's off the karate train. Yeah. You're right, he's making, like, icky comments about Sam. And meanwhile, Sam's lab partner is absent. She's got no one to dissect a fetal pig with. And
I know, and she does some very interesting flirting over the fetal pig
because you know, when the teacher is like, does anybody want to take Sam on? Nobody does, because she's now unpopular, except for Miguel, who's partnered with with Dimitri, but says, like, Sam can join our group. So you get, like, some cute, like, interaction between them.
It's the first of what I think are many instances of karate flirting, you know, kind of in this episode and also throughout the show.
Although,
where, like,
can I say, though, that, like, you know, Sam compliments Miguel on his karate moves, and he's like, oh, thanks, you know, and then she also offers some critique, which is fine, except she hasn't taken karate lessons since she was 8.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, like,
yeah.
I think it's cool that, like, she still has, like, some, that she can still get into a karate stance if need be, but it seems odd that she would, like, suddenly be able to, like, be like, oh, well, obviously you telegraphed your sweep, like.
Yeah. And also, this, I guess, leads us back to Daniel, but when she's sitting there, and can I just say, she's always on her phone, or she's always on her computer, and basically every other message that she's getting is like an obnoxious meme bullying her. Sam, just get off the internet.
She
you
also,
know what?
she
Let
also
this ride
Facebook
this out.
Stalks Miguel a little bit, which is
she
cute.
does, yeah. So there's reasons for her to be on this computer, but like, frankly, her social life is not doing so hot.
And so Daniel, who, like, getting a little into Daniel's plotline, he has built himself a dojo in, like, the east wing of his house, but now he has no one to play with. And, like, when he asks Sam to practice with him, she's kind of like, thanks, but no thanks.
Actually, you can see the hierarchy of affection here because he is desperate for a karate student. He asks Sam, his number one, first. She turns him down. Then he goes to his wife, who, again, has who probably has friends and a job and hobbies, unlike Daniel.
She's on the way to spin class.
Yeah, she has shit to do, and she's like, no, thank you. And then, at long last, as a distant third, is one Anthony LaRusso, who's just sitting there playing games like a normal 10-year-old.
Wait, let's call it. This is our official segment of Anthony Watch.
Anthony Watch.
So, when Daniel's wife turns him down, she was like, do you remember the last time we practiced karate?
Oh.
And then
the whole world shudders.
Yeah. And then she, like, gives him a lascivious look, and then they both look at Anthony.
What the fuck happened on that mat?
Right? He's the product of a deeply regretted encounter between Daniel and his wife.
Oh my god, yeah, okay.
And like, when Daniel approaches him and asks him to play karate, I mean, to be fair to Daniel and his wife and everyone, Anthony is the worst. Like,
what? Okay, I'm gonna defend him.
He's the worst.
No.
He's like,
but think about
his video
we're all
games.
trying to get what I think the show creators are trying to do is here. Look at this person who is ostensibly kind of like Johnny, rough around the edges, kind of a loser, and they're saying zoom out a little bit, look at the society that brought them up, look at the influences in their life, and then try to find a way to resuscitate the character. Everything we know about Anthony LaRusso is he is an afterthought, period, for not just Daniel, but for his poor mom doesn't seem to like him very much either. He decides, hey, you know what, I'm not getting any attention from my parents, and unlike Robbie, who we'll get to, who decides bizarre plots of getting a job at a car dealership, Anthony's like, I'm going to just tune out and become a gamer. That's safe. Maybe he has tons of friends online.
Maybe. I mean, you know what? You've done it for me. Like, he's really neglected.
Yeah.
And he's really unloved. I think he probably knows that.
And just note that also, Daniel asks Sam, hey, do you want to, practice karate with me? And she turns him down very nicely. And he's like, you know what? That's cool. Anthony basically says the same thing, and he's like, oh, God, Anthony, like, you're the worst. And he, like, tries to, like, half drag him to this dojo, and then he, like, gives up. But, yeah, he... oh, my God, it's tough to see. I mean... week after week. It gets terrible.
Well, actually, I mean, in defense of everyone who hates Anthony, which is, like, his entire family, like... He's a spoiled brat. Like, he basically, like, when his dad takes away his game, he immediately orders another one using Alexa, which is...
I mean, but this is part of a larger trend I see with the things that sons who are not getting attention from their fathers do to receive attention.
Look at your segue.
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
Good.
We're talking about Robbie, FYI people. Who is, I didn't want to say we could top the insane plot line of Daniel LaRusso trying to wipe up the livelihoods of the Reseda County.
But Robbie does it.
Robbie somehow manages to, so if you'll remember from the last episode...
Robbie has decided to go to work for LaRusso Auto Group.
Which is a totally normal thing for a 16-year-old... kind of rough around the edges teen from the wrong side of the tracks to do.
He's also like a very accomplished liar who knows how to turn on the charm.
He knows how to make a fake CV at any rate.
He knows how to make a fake CV. He knows how to, like, you see this in early episodes. Like, he knows how to con his way into things. Again, I mentioned this in the last episode. I'm just going to say it again. Like, he doesn't know that Daniel is desperate for a karate pupil and that he may end up being that karate pupil. So, like, you see him...
He doesn't know he's part of Daniel's machinations already.
Right. He doesn't know what the future holds. And so, like, when you see him there, first of all, you're treated to the least stirring montage of all time as he refills coffee pods.
There is an honest-to-God montage of
Puts
him...
stickers on cars, takes inventory.
Who is asking for that car dealership montage? Right. Anybody?
And he tells his hoodlum friends, like, who are like, why are you wearing khakis now?
His 40-something-year-old friends who are teasing him about getting a job.
And having khakis. I mean, the khakis.
Yeah.
But, like, he's like, well, I'm doing this because, like, this guy's my dad's enemy. Like, when he finds out I'm working for him, it's going to drive him insane. And I'm honestly like, really, when he finds out that you're refilling the coffee pods, it's going to drive him. Why?
And he's so committed to this bit. I mean, he's like a method actor. He's going deep.
Right. It's so strange. I mean, it works out because, of course, Robbie's plotline basically is he's pranked a couple of times by the other staffers at LaRusso Auto Group. All this leads him to...
The two other employees. I guess it's more like a family affair.
It does seem like a family affair. He's pranked by Daniel's cousin, whose name is something.
Something. We do know that this cousin is on a South Asian dating
No, that's the other...
the other one.
The other guy.
Yeah.
Who's on a South Asian...
Realism. There are a lot of South Asians.
As South Asians, we were very pleased to hear the shout out.
They give us...
Yeah. So that's something. And anyway, so he gets pranked by the cousin, and like he almost quits, but then Daniel's actually pretty nice to him about it, teaches him how to make a fist. And you can tell, we rag on Daniel a lot for being a sociopath, but you can tell he's a nice boss, although you can also tell he's clearly so desperate for a Padawan.
Not just that, but he really frequently evokes his kind of humble origins. He's like, you know what, I may look rich and I may have this fancy dealership, but I'm from Reseda and I grew up in Jersey. He's basically a Springsteen song at this point.
Oh my God.
And it's like, well, you're a ways out from that life. I mean,
right.
Look at what you just did in the last episode.
He does invoke that a lot as a kind of like armor against like being a rich douchebag. But
yeah, can I just also say Robbie's ultimate goal, he's really interested in getting a LaRusso Auto shirt.
With his name on
it. And I just thought, that seemed like a cry for help for me.
Yeah,
that
right.
seemed like a very obvious, like, I want to be seen.
Right. Like, wait till his dad sees him.
Do you think
with
anyone
a
knows
LaRusso
Robbie's
Auto
name?
shirt. Yeah. I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard to tell. He, by the end of the episode, like, just finishing off Robbie's plotline, like, he's been pranked again into bringing, like, a sales report to Daniel's house at the end of the day, which turns out just to be a dirty magazine. And I'm honestly kind of like, that's not that great a prank. Like, who cares? Like, you went to your boss's house and you weren't in by accident.
I don't know how these employees are still there.
How do they get shit done? But anyways, he gets there, he sees Daniel practicing karate, he asks a couple questions. Daniel's clearly, like, out of his mind with joy that somebody actually wants to play in the dojo.
I know, but let's be honest here. He would have asked anyone to do karate. I think
that's true.
At this point, I think Daniel's crazed enough to just, like, start taking drifters off the street and begging them to do karate. And he's not even doing karate, he's just doing kata, which... So I think it strains a little believability that Robbie saw him doing kata and was, like, so blown away that he was like, I have to learn this. But maybe Robbie's got nothing else going on. He's like, you know what? You want to spend your evening doing karate with me? You just spend all day, like, stocking straws or whatever.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Robbie's got no real friends. Daniel's got no real friends.
Neither of them have a lot going on right now. Why not?
They're both totally obsessed with Johnny.
They're both probably, like, at this point, Daniel doesn't know that Robbie is Johnny's son or that this is all some idiotic plot at paternal revenge. But if they both were upfront about that, then I imagine they could plot together.
They could talk about it in therapy together.
But instead, they're just going to do some karate. Now, getting back to a little bit of Miguel and Sam.
Oh, yes.
Do you feel that they have chemistry?
I feel a little weird talking about chemistry with teens. It's just...
I like them, actually.
I think they're very cute. Do I think Sam has a personality? It's doubtful at this point. She's just a nice and pretty girl.
Can I tell you something that really bothered me? She thanks Miguel. This is when they're dissecting that fetal pig and kind of doing some, like, fetal pig
flirting, yeah.
Like, as one does. She thanks him for taking care of, like, Kyler and his goons, and he says, well, someone had to take care of those assholes. And she says, but no one did.
And like, you didn't fucking... Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That actually enraged me a little bit, because it's like... So what's commendable about Miguel is that he wasn't a bystander to somebody else, like, being, like, picked on, right? But, like, Samantha did that constantly when her friends were picking on her oldest friend.
Yeah.
And that's, like... Yeah, man, like, I'm sorry you're getting bullied now. This seems really sucky for you, but, like...
She shows just startlingly little self-awareness, where I wonder if she's like, I wonder why Isha doesn't want to sit with me.
Right. Like,
she never wonders.
She never wonders that.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, it's like, it's weird, because it's like... I think that is objectively horrible, that kind of bystander thing.
Frustratingly passive.
But I'm like, when Daniel does something shitty, this is like a comment about like the show as a whole. I like that the show is aware that he's being shitty. Yeah. And he gets called out for it. But like, Samantha, she never
really delve into the female characters as much. Like, they make them a little one-dimensional. Like,
right.
Aisha's getting bullied. Aisha joins Cobra Kai and basically period, full stop. I don't know that we see too much more.
Well, we see her, like, growing more confident. She's very different, like, after joining Cobra Kai than before. But I see what you're saying. And, like, I like Daniel's wife a lot. I think she's cool. But I wouldn't say she gets a plotline of her own. But that's okay. I mean,
I don't know. And now it's starting to bother me that her entire raison d'etre is to be, like, the voice of reason, which is something that is, like, lazy screenwriting, and it's often what women are slotted into.
I know,
it's like,
but I guess it's like...
Aren't you doing this crazy thing? Haha, I still love you.
I know, and that actually gets worse in the second season, I think, too, but, like, I do like that she's funny about it. I
love when Daniel's getting roasted.
Yeah.
I just wish there was a little bit more edge to it. I want there to be stakes. Like, she's always... My secret theory is Amanda always has, like, divorce papers, like, signed and ready to go, and, like, in a vault somewhere, and like maybe in a future season, like Daniel will find them or something. I have a lot of side plots,
and I imagine if she was confronted about it, she'd be like, "Come on, look at yourself." Because I like it because like although she's not a very like complex character at this point, like she's cool and she's like funny, and sometimes. Sadly enough, it's like just finding a wife character who's cool and funny is like sort of rare. But yeah, Samantha is not. I don't know. She's kind of like you're right, a generic, pretty nice girl. I like her with Miguel because like
she moved on from that Kyler breakup.
Yeah, and like Miguel is like just seeing Miguel happy makes me happy, and he's clearly happy talking to her. So,
yeah.
Hey, oh God, this show makes me want to be a mother. It's weird. But
I've said that so many times, too many times, one could say.
Right, it's creepy. I want.
Lata will have a son by the end of this podcast.
Who
will that son be?
If the actor named Miguel wants to be adopted, that's okay.
You know what? Your luck. You're probably getting Robbie.
Oh God, never mind. Fuck motherhood.
Have we run out of? Have we finished Robbie's plot line?
I think that's about it. Like he's, you can tell he's going to get into karate and pursue revenge against his father.
Or he's karate curious.
He's karate curious. Very, very, very well put. And our last thing that happens in this episode. Well, we mentioned Eli coming in. With his hair in the mohawk. And I want to say, just like, I think that's very important. It's a very important moment for him and also for us because the beautiful theme song that you hear at the beginning of our podcast and at the end is actually called Hawk's theme. It is Hawk's theme. Eli, now Hawk, that is his theme. And so in a way...
Wait, isn't it Quiver?
It's... from the episode Quiver, but it's called Hawk's theme.
Okay.
So, and you know what's great? Because I pay attention to this stuff now because I'm a nerd. When Eli is just Eli and he has like his hair lip and like Johnny's calling him Lip, you hear that song play very softly.
Yeah, and also there's a track called Lip. As someone who listens to the soundtrack way too much.
Right, it's that. It's like kind of a soft, like a softer, more timid version of what is Hawk's theme.
Yeah, and
which
Hawk's theme is
starts
badass.
Playing at the end, and please enjoy it as it plays this episode out.
All right,
strike first,
strike hard,
no mercy.